My name is Skucha, and I am from Ao in Enugu State, Nigeria. For 35 years, I operated in the kingdom of darkness as what we called the midnight financial assassin. My specific role in our coven was to place financial curses on Christians during the midnight hours when they were asleep and spiritually vulnerable. I was not someone who stumbled into darkness by accident. I was trained by my grandmother from the age of 7 to attack people's finances while they slept. But there were 5 specific psalms that absolutely terrified our entire coven. 5 passages from the Bible that when Christians prayed them at midnight before sleeping would create an impenetrable shield around their finances. We could not manifest any curse against them. We would send assignment after assignment, and every single one would bounce back to us with violence. Today I am going to confess these 5 midnight psalms to you. I am going to tell you exactly why they work, exactly when to pray them, and exactly what happens in the spirit realm when you do. But first, let me tell you how I discovered their power. In the spirit realm, midnight is not just a time, it is a portal. It is an access point. From 11:45 at night until 12:30 in the morning, the veil between the physical and spiritual world becomes extremely thin. This is why we conducted our most powerful operations during these hours. This is why financial curses placed at midnight manifest faster than curses placed at any other time. Let me explain how we operated. Every night at 11:00, our coven would gather in the spirit realm. We would review our assignments, we would identify our targets, we would coordinate our attacks. Then at exactly midnight, we would strike. We knew that most Christians were asleep by midnight. We knew that most people had no spiritual covering during these hours. Their pastors were asleep. Their prayer partners were asleep. Their churches were closed. They were spiritually alone and vulnerable like sheep without shepherds. Our financial attacks at midnight were specifically designed to penetrate during these vulnerable hours. We would place curses that would begin manifesting the very next morning. The businessman who was attacked at midnight would receive bad news about his contracts by 9:00. The woman whose bank account was cursed at midnight would discover unexplained charges by noon. The family whose prosperity was attacked at midnight would face unexpected expenses by evening. The speed of manifestation at midnight was terrifying. What might take weeks to manifest if cursed during the day would begin showing results within hours if cursed at midnight. Most Christians go to bed without spiritual covering. They watch television, they scroll their phones, they have casual conversations, and then they fall asleep. They don't realize that the moment they close their eyes, they become targets. Our coven had lists of Christians we attacked specifically at midnight. We knew which families had no prayer covering. We knew which businesses had exposed finances. We knew who was vulnerable. But some Christians were different. Some families had built what we called midnight walls. These were spiritual barriers that activated automatically at midnight because the people had prayed specific psalms before sleeping. No matter how powerful our assignment, no matter how many witches we sent, we could not penetrate these walls. These midnight walls had specific characteristics. First, they were active only during the midnight portal hours. Second, they were built specifically from the words of these 5 psalms. Third, they would actually expand to cover the person's entire property, including their finances, their business, their bank accounts, even their future opportunities. We studied these walls carefully because we needed to understand our enemies. We discovered that the walls were not just defensive, they were aggressive. If we approached too closely, they would repel us. Force. If we tried to send curses through them, those curses would bounce back and hit us instead. Some of our own coven members were injured by rebounding curses from midnight walls. I remember the first time I encountered one of these families. I was assigned to destroy the business of a man in Nuka. He ran a successful pharmacy, and the competitor had paid our coven to collapse his finances. I went to attack him at midnight, and something happened that I had never experienced before. As I approached his house in the spirit realm, I saw words, actual words, hanging in the air around his property like a fence made of fire. These weren't ordinary words. They were verses from specific psalms. They formed a barrier that burned when I tried to touch it. Every time I attempted to cross, the words would speak themselves out loud, and I would be thrown backward with tremendous force. I returned to my grandmother and told her what had happened. She was not surprised. She said there are 5 psalms that create permanent midnight barriers when spoken with faith. If a Christian knows these 5 psalms and prays them before sleeping, there is nothing we can do to their finances. Our curses will not manifest. Our assignments will fail. We will waste our time and energy. That night I learned something that changed my entire understanding of spiritual warfare. The battle for your finances is fought while you sleep. And the Christians who understand this, the Christians who protect their midnight hours, are the ones whose money we could never touch. I want to share with you the exact moment this truth became undeniable to me. I was in a meeting with senior witches from 3 different covens. We were discussing why certain Christians seemed immune to financial attack. One of the most powerful witches in the room, a woman who had been practicing for over 60 years, said something I never forgot. She said, "There are Christians whose finances are locked behind walls we cannot penetrate. Every night at midnight, while we are sending curses, they are building walls. While we are attacking, they are defending. While we are cursing, they are blessing. And their walls are made of the same material our curses are made of, words. But their words come from a book that has more power than all our incantations combined." She was talking about the Bible. She was talking about these Psalms. She was admitting that our curses, as powerful as they were, could not defeat the words of Scripture spoken at the right time with the right faith. If you have been struggling with unexplained financial problems, if money seems to disappear from your life faster than you can earn it, if you work hard but never seem to get ahead, if business opportunities always slip away at the last moment, if you feel like there is an invisible force working against your prosperity, I want you to pay very close attention to what I am about to reveal. The first midnight psalm is Psalm 91. This is the foundation of all midnight financial protection. In our coven, we called Psalm 91 the impenetrable fortress, because when Christians prayed it at midnight, we could not even approach their finances, let alone curse them. Let me read you what this psalm says. "He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in Him will I trust. Surely He shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence." Do you understand what this means spiritually? When you pray this psalm at midnight, you are declaring that you dwell in the secret place of the Most High. You are positioning yourself under divine shadow. Financial curses cannot manifest against someone who is hidden in God's secret place. We would look for them in the spirit realm, and we could not find them. They were hidden. The phrase, "Surely He shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler," is specifically about financial traps. In the spirit realm, we set snares. We create traps designed to catch people's finances. These snares are invisible in the natural world, but they are very real in the spiritual world. They are the reason why you invest in something and lose everything. They are the reason why unexpected expenses always appear just when you are about to save money. They are the reason why contracts fall through at the last moment. Psalm 91 at midnight destroys every snare we set for your finances. Let me tell you about a woman I will call Mama Blessing. She lived in Onika and sold fabrics at the main market. For 3 years, our coven had been assigned to destroy her business. A rival trader had paid good money to see Mama Blessing fail. We placed snares everywhere. We cursed her supply line so that good fabric would arrive damaged. We cursed her customer relationships so that loyal buyers would suddenly go to her competitors. We cursed her market stall so that people would walk past it without stopping. For 3 years, we maintained these curses. And for 3 years, her business suffered. Then something changed. Someone gave Mom a blessing. A small devotional book that taught about praying Psalm 91 at midnight. She didn't understand the full spiritual significance, but she started doing it. Every night before sleeping, she would sit on her bed, open her Bible to Psalm 91, and read it out loud. Then she would say, "Lord, I am dwelling in your secret place tonight. Cover my business while I sleep." Within 1 week, our entire assignment collapsed. The snares we had set started catching the rival trader instead of Mama Blessing. Her supply lines suddenly cleared, and beautiful fabric began arriving in perfect condition. Customers who had abandoned her for 3 years started returning with apologies they couldn't explain. One woman told Mama Blessing, "I don't know why I stopped coming here. It's like something was blocking me from your stall, but now I feel drawn to come back." Within 3 months, Mama Blessing's business had recovered everything it had lost in 3 years. Within 6 months, she had expanded to a second stall. The rival trader who had paid for the curse ended up closing her own business because the snares had reversed onto her. That is the power of Psalm 91 at midnight. It doesn't just protect your finances, it reverses the curses back to their source. Let me tell you about another case that demonstrates this reversal power. There was a young man I will call Brother Daniel from Erie. He had just started a transport business with one small bus. It was all he could afford, but he was determined to grow it into a fleet. A senior transporter in the same route hired our coven to eliminate this new competition. He didn't want to share passengers with a young man who was hungry and hard-working, so he paid us to curse Brother Daniel's only bus, so that it would break down beyond repair. We sent the curse at midnight. We targeted the engine, the transmission, the brakes. We sent spirits of mechanical failure to inhabit that vehicle. Within 2 weeks, the bus broke down on the highway. The repairs cost more than the bus was worth. Brother Daniel was devastated. But Brother Daniel's mother was a praying woman. She told him, "Son, this attack came at midnight. You must defend yourself at midnight." She taught him to pray Psalm 91 every night at midnight over his business. Brother Daniel started this practice even though he no longer had a bus. He would pray, "Lord, I dwell in your secret place. My transport business is hidden from every curse. Even though I have nothing right now, I speak protection over what you are going to give me." Something remarkable happened. A man in his church who had heard about his situation felt moved to give him enough money to buy a new bus. Not a loan, a gift. This man later told Brother Daniel, "I don't know why, but I could not sleep until I decided to help you. Something kept pressing me." That pressing was the reversal of the curse. When Brother Daniel prayed Psalm 91, the curse we had sent began looking for somewhere else to go. It could not touch him anymore. So it went searching for another target, and somehow it created such disturbance in the spirit realm that it actually mobilized provision for him. Instead, Brother Daniel now owns 12 buses. The senior transporter who hired us eventually went bankrupt. His entire fleet was sold to pay debts, and several of those buses were bought by, guess who? Brother Daniel, at prices so low they seemed like gifts. This is what happens when you pray Psalm 91 at midnight consistently. Curses do not just fail, they reverse, they boomerang. They return to their sender with multiplied force. Right now, I want you to go to the comments and write these words. I dwell in the secret place at midnight. My finances are hidden from every curse. When you write that, you are not just typing words. You are making a legal declaration in the spirit realm. You are announcing to every witch, every sorcerer, every demonic entity that has been assigned to your finances, that you are positioning yourself in the secret place. Do not just watch this video and move on. Participate. Write it in the comments. I dwell in the secret place at midnight. My finances are hidden from every curse. Your breakthrough starts with your declaration. The second midnight psalm is Psalm 121. This psalm terrified us because it specifically addresses the guardian who never sleeps. In the spirit realm, we operate while humans sleep because humans cannot defend themselves while unconscious. But this psalm activates a guardian who never closes his eyes. Listen to what it says. I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. Do you understand what this psalm does? It activates divine surveillance over your finances while you sleep. The Lord who made heaven and earth becomes your nighttime security guard. And this security guard never gets tired, never takes breaks, never closes his eyes even for a moment. We could attack other Christians while they slept because they were alone and unconscious. But Christians who prayed Psalm 121 at midnight were never alone. There was always someone watching, and that someone had authority over everything in heaven and earth. Let me tell you about a businessman I will call Brother Aye. He owned a trucking company in ABA that transported goods across the eastern states. His business was growing rapidly, and a powerful man in our coven became jealous. This man hired our coven to destroy Brother Ahmad's trucks and collapse his company. We began attacking at midnight. We sent spirits to cause accidents. We cursed the engines to fail at dangerous moments. We manipulated traffic authorities to impound his vehicles for imaginary violations. We even sent sickness to his drivers so they would make mistakes on the road. For the first few months it was working. Brother Ameka had 3 accidents in 60 days. 2 of his trucks were impounded. Several drivers quit because they kept getting sick. His company was hemorrhaging money. Then Brother Emma's pastor told him to pray Psalm 121 every night at midnight, specifically over his business. The pastor said, "Declare that the Lord who never sleeps is watching your trucks while you sleep." Brother Ameka started this practice. Every night at 11:55, he would wake himself with an alarm, pray Psalm 121, and specifically name each of his trucks. He would say, "Lord, you neither slumber nor sleep. Watch truck number 1 while I sleep. Watch truck number 2 while I sleep." And he would go through all his vehicles. I want to tell you what happened in the spirit realm. Every time we tried to attack his trucks after that, we would see a presence standing on each vehicle. It was as if each truck had its own security guard who was fully alert in the middle of the night. We would approach to cause an accident, and this presence would block us. We would try to curse the engine, and this presence would repair it faster than we could damage it. Within 1 month, Brother Amir's accident stopped completely. His impounded trucks were released without explanation. His drivers stopped getting sick, and his business began growing again, faster than before. The man in our coven who had ordered the attack became furious. He demanded that we increase our efforts. We told him we had tried everything. There is something guarding those trucks, we said. It never sleeps. It sees everything we do. We cannot touch them. That is the power of Psalm 121 at midnight. It assigns divine protection to your finances, your business, your property, everything you name while praying this psalm. There was also a woman I will call Sister Shinono, who worked as a civil servant in Abuja. She had been saving money for 8 years to buy land and build a house for her retirement. Every month she would set aside a portion of her salary. She was disciplined and consistent. A colleague at her office who knew about her savings became envious. This colleague had been working longer but had saved nothing because of her lifestyle. She hired a local herbalist to drain Sister Chinono's savings. The herbalist placed a curse of financial leakage. This is a specific curse that causes money to flow out of accounts through unnecessary expenses, emergencies, and bad decisions. We use this curse frequently because it is subtle. The victim doesn't realize they are being attacked. They just think they are unlucky. Sister Chinono began experiencing strange financial drains. Her car would need expensive repairs every month. Family members would call with emergencies that required money. Her rent was suddenly increased. Medical bills appeared unexpectedly. In 18 months, half her 8 years of savings had vanished. A pastor visited her church and taught about Psalm 121 for financial protection. He said specifically, "The Lord who made heaven and earth is watching your bank account right now. If you activate his watching through this psalm, no curse can drain your savings." Sister Chinono started praying Psalm 121 at midnight every night. She would specifically say, "Lord, you neither slumber nor sleep. I ask you to watch my savings account while I sleep tonight. Watch every naira I have saved. Do not let it be drained by any curse." The financial leakage stopped within 2 weeks. Her car stopped needing repairs. Family emergencies suddenly stopped. Medical bills disappeared. The curse could not function anymore because there was a guardian watching every exit point of her finances. But here's what amazed us in the coven. Not only did the leakage stop, but Sister Chinonso received an unexpected promotion that doubled her salary. It was as if the Lord was restoring what the curse had stolen, while simultaneously protecting her future earnings. The colleague who hired the herbalist eventually confessed. She had a mental breakdown and admitted everything to Sister Chinonso in tears. The herbalist she hired had told her, "I cannot continue this work. There is something guarding that woman's money. Every time I send a spirit to drain her, it comes back blinded. Something is watching." The guardian who never sleeps had literally blinded the spirits assigned to drain her finances. I have to be honest with you. Every time I share stories like Brother Ameka's, something stirs in me. Guilt, regret, because I was the one attacking those businesses. I was the one sending spirits to cause accidents and failures. And now I see the damage I caused, and I want to undo every bit of it. That is why I want to tell you about something called the 21-day Breakthrough Protocol. It is a complete system to identify and destroy the 7 main assignments that were most commonly used against Christians when I was operating in darkness. This protocol was developed by believers who understand spiritual warfare from the inside. And I myself went through this protocol after my deliverance. It was part of my healing process, learning how to recognize and break every assignment I had ever placed on people. If Mama Blessing had known about this protocol from the beginning, she would not have suffered for 3 years before discovering Psalm 91. If Brother Ameka had this protocol, he would have had midnight protection before losing those trucks and drivers. The link is in the description. Do not wait. The enemy does not wait. Every night you sleep without protection is another night your finances are exposed. Let me tell you why you should not delay. In my years in darkness, I saw countless Christians who heard warnings like this one but did not act. They thought, "I will start tomorrow." They thought, "I will download that protocol next week." They thought, "I am too tired tonight." And while they delayed, we continued attacking. We loved Christians who procrastinated. They gave us extra nights, extra weeks, extra months to work on their finances without resistance. Every night of delay was a gift to the kingdom of darkness. The Christians who broke free were the ones who acted immediately. They heard a revelation, and applied it that same night. They did not give the enemy another 24 hours to work. They understood that spiritual warfare is urgent business. I am telling you today, act tonight. Do not go to sleep without praying these 5 Psalms. Do not give the enemy one more night of unresisted access to your finances. Whatever excuse your mind creates, that excuse is from the enemy. He knows that if you start tonight, his access ends tonight. If you've experienced unexplained business failures, if you've watched money disappear despite your hard work, write in the comments, "The guardian who never sleeps now watches my finances." Make that declaration today. Take authority over your midnight hours and watch how everything begins to change. The third midnight psalm is Psalm 4. This psalm specifically addresses financial peace while sleeping. In our coven, we discovered that worry and anxiety about money were doorways we could use to enter people's finances. When someone went to bed stressed about bills, worried about business, anxious about provision, their mind was not at rest, and a mind that is not at rest cannot be protected. Listen to what Psalm 4 says. Stand in awe and sin not. Commune with your own heart upon your bed and be still. Offer the sacrifices of righteousness and put your trust in the Lord. I will both lay me down in peace and sleep. For thou, Lord, only makest me dwell in safety. The key phrase is this: I will both lay me down in peace and sleep. For thou, Lord, only makest me dwell in safety. When you pray this psalm at midnight, you are commanding your mind to release financial worry. You are declaring that your safety comes from the Lord, not from your bank account. You are putting yourself in a state of peace that closes the doorway we use to enter your finances. Let me tell you about a teacher I will call Sister Ningoy. She taught at a secondary school in AKA and earned a modest salary. She was not rich by any measure, but she had learned to budget carefully and save consistently. Over 15 years, she had accumulated a small fortune that she kept in a local bank. A family member who knew about her savings came to our coven. This family member was jealous and wanted Sister Engo's money to disappear. We were hired to drain her finances. Our strategy was to attack her peace. We sent spirits of worry to torment her at night. We made her dream about losing everything. We amplified every small concern until it became overwhelming anxiety. We knew that if we could steal her peace, we could steal her money. It was working. Sister Ngoy began making poor financial decisions because she was operating from fear. She withdrew money from her savings to invest in schemes that promised quick returns. She lent money to people who never paid it back because she was desperate to grow her wealth faster. She stopped budgeting carefully because she was too anxious to think clearly. Within 18 months, half her savings were gone. Then Sister Ngoy attended a conference where a pastor taught about Psalm 4 as a midnight prayer. The pastor said, if you are losing sleep over money, this psalm will restore your peace and protect your finances. Sister Ningosi started praying Psalm 4 every night. She would specifically say, Lord, I lay down in peace tonight about my finances. You alone make me dwell in safety. I release every worry about money to you. I trust you with my bank account, my salary, my savings, my future. Something supernatural happened. The spirits of worry we had assigned to her could no longer penetrate her mind. We would send them at midnight, and they would return empty. She has some kind of peace covering, they reported. We cannot create anxiety in her anymore. Without anxiety driving her decisions, Sister Ningoy returned to her careful budgeting. She stopped investing in risky schemes. She stopped lending to people who wouldn't repay. She began rebuilding her savings with the same discipline she had practiced for years. The family member who hired us became furious. But there was nothing we could do. We had lost access to Sister's financial emotions, and without that access, we could not manipulate her decisions. Let me tell you about another case that shows how important financial peace is. There was a businessman I will call Alhaji Ibrahim in Kano. He was a Muslim, but he had Christian business partners, and one of them taught him about Psalm 4. Alhaji Ibrahim was not interested in converting, but he was interested in protecting his wealth. His business was being attacked by competitors who used both Islamic and traditional African methods against him. Every night, Alhaji Ibrahim was tormented by dreams of losing everything. He would wake up at 2 or 3:00 in the morning, sweating, heart racing, unable to go back to sleep. His mind would race through every possible financial disaster. These nightmares were not natural. They were being sent. We knew this because members of our coven coordinated with other practitioners who used different methods. The strategy was universal: steal the person's peace at night, and you gain access to their financial decision-making during the day. Alhaji Ibrahim's Christian partner told him, "My friend, regardless of your faith, there is something in the Bible that creates peace at night. Try praying this Psalm 4 before you sleep. What do you have to lose?" Alhaji Ibrahim started reading Psalm 4 every night. Even though he was not Christian, he would say, "God of this psalm, I ask for peace tonight. I lay down in peace and sleep. You alone make me dwell in safety." The nightmares stopped within 1 week. Alhaji Ibrahim began sleeping through the night for the first time in years. His daytime decisions improved dramatically. He stopped making fear-based choices. His business stabilized and then began growing again. The practitioners who were attacking him reported to those who hired them that they could not access his sleep anymore. "Something is blocking us," they said. "When we try to send dreams, they bounce back. He has some kind of protection at night." This story shows that the power of these psalms is not limited by religious boundaries. They work because they are spiritual truth. They create real effects in the spirit realm. Even someone who was not a Christian experienced protection when he spoke these words with sincerity. Before I continue to the 4th Psalm, I need to ask you something. If what you have heard so far has opened your eyes, if you are beginning to understand why your finances have been under attack, share this video with someone who needs it. Share it with that family member who has been struggling financially for years. Share it with that friend whose business keeps failing. Share it with that person who always seems to be on the edge of breakthrough but never quite makes it. You can be the one to bring them this revelation. Share it now. The 4th midnight psalm is Psalm 134. This is a short but extremely powerful psalm that specifically addresses nighttime blessing. In our coven, we knew that curses could be neutralized by blessings. If a Christian spoke blessing over their finances at the same time we spoke curses, the blessing would always win. Our only strategy was to curse when they weren't blessing. But Psalm 134 teaches Christians to bless at night, specifically at night. Listen to what it says. "Behold, bless you the Lord, all ye servants of the Lord, which by night stand in the Lord's house. Lift up your hands in the sanctuary, and bless the Lord that made heaven and earth, bless thee out of Zion." This psalm creates a blessing cycle at night. You bless the Lord, and the Lord blesses you back. When you pray this at midnight, you are establishing a continuous exchange of blessing right at the time when curses are typically being sent against you. Let me tell you about a couple I will call Mr. and Mrs. Okafor. They lived in Enugu and were trying to build a house. Every Nigerian knows that building a house is one of the most spiritually attacked projects you can undertake. Jealous relatives, envious neighbors, even strangers will send curses against your construction. The Okafors had been trying to build for 7 years. Every time they saved enough to start, something would happen. A medical emergency, a family obligation, a business setback. Their house fund would be drained and they would have to start over. They had no idea that two different covens were actively cursing their project. One coven had been hired by a jealous relative who didn't want them to own property. The other coven had been hired by someone who wanted to buy that same piece of land and was cursing any development on it. Double curses are extremely powerful. We rarely saw anyone escape from coordinated attacks from two different covens. Then Mrs. Okafor heard a teaching about Psalm 134. The teacher said, if you want supernatural protection for a project, create a midnight blessing over it. Every night, bless the Lord at midnight and speak blessings over your project. Cursing voice cannot overpower a blessing voice that never stops. The Okafor started this practice together. Every night at midnight they would hold hands, pray Psalm 134, and then specifically bless their house project. They would say, we bless you, Lord, and we receive your blessing over our house. We bless the land. We bless the materials. We bless the workers who will build. We bless the money that will finance. We bless every stage of construction. Both covens noticed something strange. Their curses were being neutralized before they could even manifest. As soon as we would speak destruction over that land, a blessing would speak restoration. It was like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in it. Nothing we poured in would stay. Within 1 year of starting this practice, the Okafors had accumulated enough to begin construction. During the building process, they continued their midnight blessings. The construction completed without major problems. Workers showed up on time. Materials arrived as ordered. The budget was maintained. Today, Mr. and Mrs. Okafor live in that house. The jealous relative who hired the first coven is still renting. The person who hired the second coven never got the land and has moved away. There's another case I must tell you about. A young couple I will call Mr. and Mrs. Adami had been trying to conceive for 7 years. In our coven, we knew that financial curses and fertility curses often work together. When a couple's finances are blessed, they often have resources to seek medical help to reduce stress to create conditions favorable for conception. So attacking finances was sometimes a strategy to attack fertility indirectly. These Adamis were under financial attack and they didn't know it. Every time they saved enough for fertility treatments, an emergency would wipe out their savings. Every time they were about to receive financial breakthrough, something would block it. Then they learned about Psalm 134. A counselor told them, you need to create a blessing cycle at night. Every curse that is being spoken against your finances and your family needs to be neutralized by blessings you speak at the same hour. Mr. and Mrs. Dad started praying Psalm 134 together at midnight. They would hold hands, bless the Lord, and then speak blessings over their finances and their future children. We bless you, Lord, they would say, and we receive your blessing over our finances. We receive your blessing over our bodies. We receive your blessing over the children you will give us. Within 6 months, Mr. Admi received an unexpected contract that tripled his income. They had enough for fertility treatments plus savings left over. Within 1 year after that, Mrs. Adi was pregnant. Today they have 3 children and a flourishing business. The practitioners who had been cursing them reported complete failure. Every curse we send comes back as a blessing somehow. They said, we speak financial lack and they receive increase. We speak barrenness and they receive children. It is as if their midnight prayers convert our curses into blessings. That is exactly what Psalm 134 does. It creates a conversion mechanism. Curses go in, blessings come out. If you have started projects that never finish, if you have goals that always get interrupted, write in the comments, I establish midnight blessings over every project in my life. Your declaration begins the process of neutralizing every curse that has been spoken against your progress. The 5th midnight psalm is Psalm 3. This psalm specifically addresses enemies who attack while you sleep. In the spirit realm, the night is when we are most active against our targets. But this psalm creates a supernatural shield specifically for the sleeping hours. Listen to what it says. Lord, how are they increased that trouble me? Many are they that rise up against me. Many there be which say of my soul, there is no help for him in God. But thou, O Lord, art a shield for me, my glory, and the lifter up of mine head. I cried unto the Lord with my voice, and he heard me out of his holy hill. I laid me down and slept. I awake, for the Lord sustained me. I will not be afraid of 10,000s of people that have set themselves against me round about. The key verse is this: I laid me down and slept. I awake, for the Lord sustained me. When you pray this psalm at midnight, you are declaring that God sustains you while you sleep. You are acknowledging that many people have risen against you, but you are not afraid. You are commanding divine protection over your unconscious hours. Let me tell you about the case that finally broke me. Let me tell you about the family that made me question everything I was doing in the kingdom of darkness. There was a pastor in Umur who had been marked for financial destruction. A powerful politician had hired 3 different covens to attack this pastor's church and ministry. This politician wanted to build a complex on the land where the church stood, and he was determined to destroy the pastor's finances until the church collapsed. I was personally assigned to lead the midnight attacks on this pastor's finances. For 6 months, I attacked him every single night. I placed curses on his tithes. I cursed his offerings. I cursed his donors. I sent spirits to create division in the church so members would leave and take their contributions with them. Nothing worked. Every night I would approach that pastor's house and find the same thing. He was awake at midnight praying. Not always loud, sometimes just whispering, but always praying. And he always prayed the same psalm, Psalm 3. He would pray it over his church finances. He would pray it over his building fund. He would pray it over his members' finances. He would say, Lord, many have risen against this ministry, but you are my shield. I lay down and sleep tonight, sustained by you. I will not be afraid of 10-0 enemies. Every curse I placed during his prayer time would dissolve. It was as if his words were acid that destroyed everything I sent. I would go back to my coven and report that the assignment was impossible. The senior witches would come with me the next night, and they too would be defeated. After 6 months of failure, the politician who hired us demanded a refund. He said, "You told me you could destroy any Christian's finances. I have paid you for 6 months, and that pastor's church is bigger than when we started." It was true. Not only had our curses failed to harm the pastor, but his church had actually grown. Members increased, donations increased. They were beginning to raise money for a larger building on a better piece of land. That experience planted the first seed of doubt in my heart. I began to wonder if the God these Christians served was more powerful than anything I had access to in darkness. That pastor is still ministering today. His church has thousands of members. The politician who tried to destroy him eventually left that city entirely. The land where he wanted to build remains empty, a testament to a battle fought in the spirit realm that he lost completely. Let me tell you one more story about Psalm 3. There was a trader I will call Mr. Okachuku, who sold electronics in Lagos. He had built his business from nothing, starting with a small table in a market and growing to own 3 shops. His success made him a target. 3 different competitors pulled their resources to hire our coven. They wanted to destroy Mr. Okachuku so completely that he would never recover. They wanted his customers, his shops, his suppliers, everything he had built. We attacked with everything we had. We placed curses on his inventory so that electronics would malfunction after being sold, causing customers to demand refunds. We cursed his relationships with suppliers so that they would stop giving him good terms. We cursed his shop location so that foot traffic would decrease. We even cursed his employees so that they would steal from him. For 6 months, Mr. Okachuku suffered. Customers complained, suppliers abandoned him, sales dropped, employees were caught stealing. He was on the verge of losing everything. Then Mr. Okachukwu heard a radio program where a pastor taught about Psalm 3 for protection against multiple enemies. The pastor said, David wrote this psalm when thousands of enemies were against him. If you have multiple forces attacking your business, this is your psalm. Mr. Okachukwu realized he was under coordinated attack. He didn't know who was attacking him or how many enemies he had, but he knew the attack was too comprehensive to be coincidence. So he started praying Psalm 3 at midnight. He would say, Lord, many have risen against my business. I do not know how many or who they are, but you know you are my shield. You are my glory. You are the lifter of my head. I will not be afraid of 10,000 enemies set against me. I lay down and sleep, for you sustain me. The change was dramatic. Within 1 month, all 3 competitors who had hired us began experiencing problems in their own businesses. One had a fire that destroyed his inventory. One had a major theft by trusted employees. One had a lawsuit that froze his accounts. We were shocked. We had sent curses against Mr. Okachukwu, and somehow those curses had redirected to the people who hired us. This had never happened before with such precision. Meanwhile, Mr. Okachukwu's business recovered. His electronics stopped malfunctioning. Suppliers returned with better terms than before. Foot traffic increased. His employees became honest and hardworking. Within 1 year, he had expanded to 5 shops. The 3 competitors who hired us all went out of business within 2 years. They had spent their money on curses that boomeranged back to destroy them. Now, before I close, I need to bring all of this together for you. These 5 midnight psalms are not just nice prayers to add to your routine. They are spiritual weapons specifically designed for nighttime warfare. When you pray them together at midnight, you are creating a comprehensive shield that blocks every type of financial curse. Psalm 91 hides you in God's secret place. This is your invisibility cloak. Curses cannot hit what they cannot find. When you pray this psalm, you become spiritually invisible to the forces attacking your finances. Psalm 121 assigns divine surveillance over your finances. This is your security system. While you sleep, the Lord who never sleeps is watching every entry point, every exit point, every pathway that could be used to drain your money. Psalm 4 gives you supernatural peace that closes doorways. This is your emotional armor. Fear and anxiety are doorways that curses use to enter. When you have peace, those doorways are sealed shut. Psalm 134 establishes a blessing cycle that neutralizes curses. This is your countermeasure. While the enemy sends curses, you are sending blessings. Your blessings are stronger because they come from the Lord who made heaven and earth. Psalm 3 declares God as your sustainer while you sleep. This is your guarantee. The Lord Himself has committed to keep you while you are unconscious. 10,000 enemies cannot overpower the one who sustains you. Together, these 5 psalms create what I can only describe as a midnight fortress. It is not just one wall, but 5 walls, each reinforcing the others. A curse would have to penetrate all 5 layers to reach your finances. In 35 years of attacking Christians, I never saw any curse penetrate all 5 psalm barriers. The wealthy Christians I observed during my years in darkness all had one thing in common. They protected their midnight hours. They did not go to sleep casually. They understood that the night was a battleground. They armed themselves before closing their eyes. Poor Christians, on the other hand, treated sleep like an ordinary activity. They went to bed thinking about tomorrow's problems. They fell asleep with television noise in their ears. They had no spiritual covering whatsoever. And they wondered why they woke up to bad news day after day. The difference was not intelligence. The difference was not education. The difference was not even hard work. The difference was midnight protection together. These 5 Psalms make financial curses impossible to manifest against you. I know because I spent 35 years trying to curse Christians who prayed them, and I failed every single time. I want to pray with you right now. I want to activate these 5 Psalms over your life. Tonight, this is not a passive prayer where you just listen. This is an activation where you participate. So wherever you are, say these declarations with me out loud. Say this with me. Father, I thank you for revealing these 5 midnight Psalms to me today. I receive this revelation with faith, and I commit to praying these Psalms every night before I sleep. I declare that from tonight I dwell in the secret place of the Most High. I abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Financial curses cannot find me because I am hidden in you. I declare that the Lord who never sleeps is now watching my finances. He that keeps me will not slumber. Every business I own, every account I hold, every opportunity that belongs to me is under divine surveillance 24 hours a day. I declare that I lay down in peace and sleep. The Lord alone makes me dwell in safety. I release every financial worry, every anxiety about money, every fear about provision. My peace is protected. I declare that I bless the Lord at midnight, and the Lord blesses me from Zion. A continuous cycle of blessing is now established over my finances. Every curse spoken against my money is neutralized by my midnight blessings. I declare that the Lord sustains me while I sleep. Many have risen against my finances, but I am not afraid. My God is my shield, my glory, and the lifter of my head. No curse can prosper against me while I rest. I declare that every financial curse that has ever been placed on me, on my family, on my business, on my bank accounts, on my career, on my investments, on my property, is made null and void from tonight. The 5 midnight Psalms are now active over my life, and financial curses are impossible to manifest against me. I declare that every witch, every sorcerer, every herbalist, every practitioner who has been assigned to attack my finances at midnight is now blocked. They cannot find me, they cannot touch me, they cannot reach my money. I declare that every curse that has been sent against me in the past is now reversed. It returns to its sender with multiplied force. The enemy's plan becomes my promotion. The enemy's curse becomes my blessing. I declare that my midnight hours are now my most protected hours. While I sleep, angels guard. While I rest, heaven watches. While I dream, the Lord sustains. I declare that from tonight, I walk in the financial victory that Jesus purchased for me. Poverty has no legal right to my life. Lack has no place in my home. Financial struggle ends tonight because I am armed with the 5 midnight Psalms. I seal this declaration with the blood of Jesus Christ in Jesus' name. If you prayed that prayer with me, something shifted in the spirit realm tonight. Your midnight hours are no longer vulnerable. Your finances are no longer exposed. And I want you to subscribe to this channel so you can continue to receive revelations that will help you walk in complete financial victory. Every week, I exp more secrets from my 35 years in darkness so that you can be equipped to defeat every attack. Now let me give you practical steps for tonight. For Psalm 91, set an alarm for 11:45 tonight. When it goes off, sit up in your bed, turn on a small light, and open your Bible or your phone to this psalm. Read it out loud in its entirety. Do not rush. Read each word with intention. When you finish reading, close your eyes and declare that you are dwelling in the secret place. Specifically, name your finances. Say, Lord, I dwell in your secret place tonight. My bank account is hidden. My business is hidden. My salary is hidden. My investments are hidden. Every financial blessing that belongs to me is hidden from every curse. For Psalm 121, pray it immediately after Psalm 91. As you pray, name specific things you want protected. Be detailed. Name your job by title. Name your business by name. Name your bank account by institution. Name each thing and ask the Lord who never sleeps to guard it. Say, Lord, you never close your eyes. Tonight, while my eyes are closed, your eyes are open. Watch my account at First Bank. Watch my shop at Onika Main Market. Watch the contract I am waiting for. Watch the salary I am expecting. Let nothing happen without your knowledge. For Psalm 4, pray it next. This one requires something different. You must consciously release every financial worry you are holding. As you pray, think about every money problem that has been troubling your mind. Think about the bills you cannot pay. Think about the debts you owe. Think about the expenses coming that you don't know how to cover. And as you pray, I will both lay me down in peace and sleep. Deliberately release each worry to God. Say, Lord, I give you this electricity bill. I give you this school fee. I give you this rent. I give you this business problem. I lay down in peace tonight because you alone make me dwell in safety. My peace is not based on my bank balance. My peace is based on your promise. For Psalm 134, pray it and then speak specific blessings over your finances. This is active work. You are not just reading words. You are speaking blessings into existence. Say, I bless you, Lord, and I receive your blessing over my income. I speak blessing over every naira that comes into my hands. I speak blessing over every kubo I spend. I speak blessing over every investment I make. I speak blessing over every business decision. I speak blessing over every job opportunity. Let a cycle of blessing be established over my finances from this night forward. For Psalm 3, pray at last. This is your final declaration before you sleep. Say it with authority. You are addressing the enemies who have been attacking your finances. You are telling them that their numbers do not intimidate you. Say, Lord, many have risen against my finances. I do not know how many or who they are, but I know they are many and I am not afraid. You are my shield. You stand between me and every financial attack. You are my glory. You transform my poverty into prosperity. You are the lifter of my head. Even when I fall, you raise me up again. I lay down now and sleep. I will awake because you sustain me. My finances are safe tonight because you are my keeper. Do this every night for 21 nights without missing a single night. Why 21? Because in the spirit realm, 21 nights of consistent prayer establish permanent patterns. Your midnight wall will be built. Your protection will be complete. Financial curses will bounce off you for the rest of your life. Let me explain what happens during each week of your 21 days. In the first week, days 1-7, you are laying the foundation. Your midnight wall is being built brick by brick. Each night you pray, another layer of protection is added. During this week, you might experience increased attacks. The enemy knows what you are doing and he will try to discourage you. You might have bad dreams. You might face unexpected expenses. You might feel like the prayers are not working. Do not stop. This is normal. The enemy fights hardest when he knows he is about to lose. In the second week, days 8-14, your midnight wall becomes visible in the spirit realm. The forces that have been attacking your finances will begin to notice that something has changed. They will send scouts to investigate. When they see your wall, they will be confused. They will try to find weaknesses. They will attack from different angles. But by this point, your wall is strong enough to repel them. During this week, you might notice that problems you expected do not materialize. Bills you feared might be less than expected. Opportunities you had given up on might return. In the third week, Days 15 through 21, your midnight wall becomes permanent. It becomes part of your spiritual identity. Even if you miss a night after this, the wall does not disappear immediately. It has been established through consistent practice. During this week, you will see breakthrough. Financial doors will open. Money will come from unexpected sources. Debts will be cancelled. Contracts will be signed. This is the harvest week. Everything you planted in the first 2 weeks produces fruit in the third week. But remember, the goal is not just 21 days. The goal is a lifestyle. After your initial 21 days, continue praying these 5 Psalms at least 3 times per week. Maintain your midnight wall. Reinforce it regularly. This way, you remain protected permanently. If you want a comprehensive guide to break every assignment, not just financial curses, but all 7 major assignments we used against Christians, the 21-day breakthrough protocol is available in the description. This protocol walks you through systematic deliverance from everything the kingdom of darkness uses against believers. It covers marriage attacks, health attacks, career attacks, family attacks, ministry attacks, and more. It teaches you not just to pray, but to pray strategically. It gives you the exact prayers, the exact declarations, and the exact schedule to break free completely. I went through this protocol myself after my deliverance. It helped me understand and dismantle everything I had built during my 35 years in darkness. It can help you dismantle everything that has been built against your life. Now, I want you to make one final declaration in the comments. Write these words: my midnight hours belong to the Lord. Financial curses are now impossible against me. Write it. Seal what God has done today. Share this video with every believer who has been struggling financially. Share it with your family members. Share it with your church group. Share it with anyone who needs to know that the battle for their finances is fought while they sleep, and they can win that battle starting tonight. Before I close, I want to speak directly to anyone who has been suffering financially for years without understanding why. You are not lazy. You are not cursed because of your own mistakes. In many cases, you have been targeted by forces you could not see and did not know existed. I want to speak to the single mother who works 2 jobs and still cannot make ends meet. It is not your fault. Someone may have placed a curse on your finances to ensure that no matter how hard you work, you never get ahead. I want to speak to the businessman who has had 3 or 4 businesses fail. It is not bad luck. Someone may have hired practitioners to ensure that every business you start collapses before it can prosper. I want to speak to the employee who has been passed over for promotion year after year while less qualified people advance. It is not because you lack talent. Someone may have placed a career ceiling over your head to keep you stuck in the same position. I want to speak to the family that has been poor for 3 or 4 generations. It is not genetics, it is not culture. Someone in your family's past may have been cursed, and that curse may have been passed down through the bloodline. I want to speak to the graduate who cannot find a job despite having excellent qualifications. It is not the economy. Someone may have blocked every door of opportunity to ensure that your education never translates into income. For all of you, tonight is the night everything changes. Tonight is the night you receive weapons that make you invincible at midnight. Tonight is the night you learn what wealthy Christians have always known. Protect your sleep and you protect your money. I was the enemy for 35 years. I was the one attacking finances while people slept. I was the one placing curses at midnight. I was the one ensuring that hard work never paid off. And now I am telling you exactly how to defeat everything I used to do. This is not theory. This is confession. This is not religious advice. This is insider knowledge from someone who spent 3.5 decades on the other side. The 5 midnight Psalms are now yours. Use them. Pray them every night. Watch your financial situation transform. Let's bring every work of darkness to light. Together we are breaking covens. In Jesus' name,